What's up, guys? Now, let's review this question copy here. Now, this question copy is already English, so I didn't have to translate anything. Also, you can see that half of the question paper is like questions from the second chapter. And you might think, okay, this is weird. This is not typical. Well, because this question copy is from 2022, and in that year they had to take the exam with like only 2 chapters and a half. So it was expected. But also the questions were not that easy, in my opinion. I think they're kind of medium difficulty. Some questions were difficult. Some questions are challenging to do because they were very specific, okay? There are also like lots of questions. So saying easy is not fair, but also saying difficult wouldn't be fair either. It's not impossible to do it. It's possible. And let's actually review them. And I think this is like a really good question paper to exercise with, because it will definitely get you better with the concepts of the second chapter. Now, in question 1A, it's telling you to justify and explain the following facts, and they're telling you that the epidermis regulates gas exchange in plant. Why? Well, because it has pairs of guarding cells. That's the answer. We said that we have guarding cells in the epidermis that regulates the gas exchange. This can also present in the form of function question, like telling you what is the function for each of the following, and guarding cells, or guarding cells of the epidermis. And the answer would be regulate gas exchange. Also in question 1A is telling you to justify spongy bone contains vacant spaces. Now, because of the bone lamellae arrangement, okay, the arrangement here in the spongy bone is not the same in the compact bone. So here they will form irregular trabeculae, which ramify and meet again, forming vacant spaces occupied with bone marrow. So here it's like not regular. Okay, so it's irregular, and we have like a network structure happening inside of the bone. So it's not like the regular arrangement we see in the compact bone. We said that in the compact bone we have like concentric arrangements plus other arrangements, but here we have irregular. It's like a network going on, a mesh. Okay, so that's why we're having too many vacant spaces, and this vacant space is occupied by the bone marrow. Also in question 1B, it's telling you to draw with labeling the phloem tissue. And in question 2A, it's telling you to complete the following. So it's a blank question. Here we have blank represents the intercellular substance of blood tissue. Now you can see some errata in the questions. They are very common with English copy questions. Anyways, so what represents the intercellular substance of the blood tissue? We've already discussed this. I've said that too many times. I said the blood plasma. The blood plasma is considered the intercellular substance of the blood tissue. It's cell-free structure. It is a cell-free structure. It does not contain cells. They are not considered cellular components, okay? So they're intercellular. Also here we have the parenchyma cells, which contain chloroplasts, are called blank. This is very easy. They are called chlorenchyma. Also in question 2B, they're telling you what is the location for each of the following. The mucoid connective tissue. It's found in the umbilical cord. The reticular fibers, they're found in the lymphatic nodes. And in question 3A, it's a definition question. Define neuroglia. Now, the neuroglial cells, there are too many stuff to talk about. As I said, every time you have a definition question, you try to talk about everything you know about that certain topic. So we're just going to say that they're cells of the nervous tissue, and they do not perform a nervous function, and they form the largest part of the nervous tissue, and the ratio between the neuroglial cells and the neurons is like 1 to 50. So each neuron has 50 cell counterpart of the neuroglia, and they occupy more than half the brain volume, and their main function is to provide support for the neurons, and they also phagocytize the bacteria and cellular debris. Also, they're telling you to define the chondromucin. Now, the chondromucin is a compound found inside the intercellular substance of the cartilage, and it provides the solidity to the cartilage and makes it more resistant to pressure and intensity. Also in question 3b, they're telling you to mention the origin of the following and the xylem tissue. Now, the origin of the xylem tissue is rectangular meristematic cells. As you can see here, so we have xylem tissue, and the first thing we mentioned about the xylem tissue, we said that the xylem tissue is derived from rectangular meristematic cells. So when you have the question asking you about the origin of the xylem tissue, it is derived from rectangular meristematic cells. That's the official answer paper. And also the periderm. The periderm is derived from the cork cambium. That's an easy one here. Also in question 4, they're telling you to answer these questions and compare between the meristematic tissue and the gram tissue regarding the location and function. Now, the location of the meristematic tissue, we said that the plant part of a high cellular division, we said also the meristematic tissue is responsible for the plant growth. That's why we find it in the plant parts with high cellular division, because the main function is the plant growth. But here in the official answer paper, we can see that the function, we can say simply cell division and plant growth, or producing new cells to increase the thickness and length of the plant. So just look at the official answer papers. Just get used to the style, the answering format that you need to write down in your paper. And also in gram tissue, we're just going to say that the location is in the roots, stems, and leaves in the form of the cortex, pith, and pith rays. And the function is forming internal tissue masses in roots, stems, and leaves. Or you can say photosynthesis, breathing, storage, flexible support, and inflexible support. So they're giving you too many options here. And the best way is just to keep looking at the official answer papers, like what do they really want you to write down in your paper, because this is going to be your real exam. And of course, just keep watching my videos because I will post more about those official answer papers because they are the real exam. In question 4b, they're telling you who's responsible for each of the following. The rapid regrowth in mature leaves. It's the intercalary meristematic tissue. And the blood coagulation in birds, we're going to say thrombocytes. We're not going to say blood platelets, because we said blood platelets are found in like humans, mammals, but the birds, amphibians, lower vertebrates, we're going to mention the word thrombocytes. That's what they want. And in question 5, they're telling you to compare between the neutrophils and lymphocytes. This is a cool question in my opinion, because we're just going to mention simply that neutrophils are type of granular leukocyte. So where do they belong to? What is the group of the classification here? So they're granular, but lymphocytes are non-granular or agranular. And of course, the neutrophils have a lobulated nuclei, meanwhile the lymphocyte have non-lobulated cell nucleus. And of course, the neutrophils constitute 40-70% of the total number of the white blood cells, meanwhile the lymphocyte constitute 20 to 45% of the total number of the white blood cells. Also in question 5b, they're telling you to give an example for each of the following and a type of cartilage. Now this is a very easy open question because you have too many options here. You have 3 options and you can mention one. So you either say hyaline cartilage, elastic cartilage, or white fiber cartilage. And also to give an example of sclerenchyma tissue cells, so we said we have 2 cells. We either say sclerids or fibers. In question 6a, they're telling you to mention the function for each of the following and histamine. What is the function of histamine? It plays an important role in the contraction of smooth muscles of the pulmonary bronchioles, and it also contributes to the expansion of the blood capillaries in order to increase their exuding ability or permeability. And the Haversian canal, we said that they allow the passage of blood vessels and nerves. In question 6b, what do these sentences indicate and serve as protein synthesis sites in the cytoplasm of neuron cell body? This is an easy one here. We're just going to say Nissel's granules. We said the Nissel granules are responsible for the protein synthesis or protein gathering in the neuron. And they're also, as I mentioned earlier, they're considered ribosomes. So they're ribosomes plus rough endoplasmic reticulum. And that's why they're able to synthesize the protein. And also in question 6, you can see a comparison question, like how can you distinguish between the type of tissue that lining and covers the blood vessels. So between the lining of the blood vessel and the cover of the blood vessel. Now, the tissue that covers the blood vessel is areolar connective tissue. Meanwhile, the tissue lining the blood vessel is simple squamous epithelial tissue. And we're just going to describe the tissue here. We're just going to say that the lining blood vessel is composed of a single layer of flattened cells of simple squamous epithelial tissue. So we're describing the simple squamous epithelial tissue. Meanwhile, here in the covering of the blood vessels, we're going to say that it is the most common type of connective tissue and that all fiber types appear in it and many connective tissue cells differentiate within it. I didn't really understand the one that is in the official answer paper because there are too many errata that I don't really understand what is written. Okay, so here's the refined version of the text, which basically conveyed the same message. And also, the final comparison point, we're going to say that the epithelial cells are separated by little intercellular space and almost have no intercellular substance. Meanwhile, here, because it is considered a connective tissue, the intercellular substance is found, and it occupies the space between the cells and the fibers.